Welcome back and a happy holidays from the Colors Are Crutch podcast. My name is Max Sternberg, also known as WoundedSatellite, and I'm joined by Santa Claus himself, Max P, the Italian man. How you doing today, Max?
I'm doing great, man. I am doing fantastic. Just fresh off vacation. Spent the last week in New Orleans, hanging out with the family, having a good time. And now it's Christmas, and I'm wearing my this is my Hanukkah Harry hat. But I was Hanukkah Harry. That's right,
dude. How are those? What are they called at Café du Monde?
Yeah, the beignets. The beignets. Dude, the food in New Orleans is ridiculous.
But did you get that crawfish etouffee?
I did. So I did the full checklist. So I did beignets. I did crawfish etouffee. Yep. I did shrimp po' boys. I did roast beef po' boys. I did multiple gumbos. I did muffalados.
Waiting to hear one thing.
Muffalados. What else? What am I missing?
Don't tell me you didn't get the oysters.
I don't do oysters, dude. I don't like oysters.
Oh my god.
I don't like it. I did jambalaya.
Dude, the oysters are so fucking good.
Dude,
the oysters are so good.
Gross.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Some people who don't like oysters, they're incredible. But oh my god, the shrimp in New Orleans is next level.
I ate a lot of shrimp.
It's crazy. Yeah. The crawfish etouffee though, that was one of those flavors that. So when I was on the van trip last year for 6 months, we traveled all around the country. We went to most of the big cities that we have, and every city, when you look up any city, every single city claims they're a food city. Every single one. New Orleans was the only city that stuck out.
Genuinely a food
next
city.
Level.
Yes.
Like genuinely next level.
Yes.
The flavors, it was amazing. I loved New Orleans. It was one of my favorite places on the trip.
Yeah, that city is insane. I mean, the food is just, you just want to eat like 4 or 5 times a day because there's just so many different things to get into. It was so good.
We did.
It was so good. We ate gator. We ate alligator. We ate everything, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I did sneak a webcam and a couple of decks with me, but I did not play any Magic
did you actually
at all.
Play?
No,
I was gonna say I didn't see you online.
Not even a little bit. Which means I'm probably sucked now. After a week of not playing.
It's like riding a bike, bro.
Yeah.
When you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
Want to host the best CDH events in the world? I got the right software for you, Eminence Gaming and the Command Tower software. You want to be a TO? Have easy access to decklist submissions, player management, and just a few clicks of a button. And if your players want to see what they need, all they need to do is scan one QR code, and they have access to the bracket page. This will show them their live pairings and live round results, so they can be updated on how they're doing in the tournament. Make your tournament the best that it could possibly be with the Command Tower software.
Yeah, but you played a whole tournament, dude. Played in Ka0s.
I did. Yep. I did play at another tournament, another swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Well, sort of a miss. Depends what your view of miss is.
Oh,
I had a lot of people.
Go on.
I had a lot of people that morning saying today's your day, and I said today is the fucking day. I said it in multiple discords that today was the fucking day. I even found out that apparently the people at Ka0s they make bets on who they think is going to win the tournament, and I was someone's pick for winner of the tournament.
Well,
before the tournament started.
I'll put it like this. So I think when the tournament started, I was still on the road, and I told my wife and kids, I'm like, this is the one that my co-host is going to win. He's going to win a tournament today, and they're like, we don't care.
Yeah, no,
and I'm like, no, he's gonna. But this, you don't understand. This is the one. He's gonna win. And I told you, I messaged you. I'm like, you're gonna win this one. And then I even went in the Twitch chat like during top 16, and I'm like, it was long before you were gonna win. I think it was actually the 5th round when I went on Twitch chat. I'm like, that this is the one that WoundedSatellite wins. Yeah. I'm calling it now.
I was casting during round 5, dude. I had a really fun day overall. It was great to cast again. I really enjoy casting. It's definitely something I want to do more of. But yeah, I mean, should I go through the rounds here?
Yeah. So yeah, why don't we? That's what we're doing. Just so everyone, here's what we're doing today. We're gonna go through Ka0s, talk about Max's rounds, talk about how he didn't quite win, even and due to no spoiler alert, no fault of his own. Like there's nothing that could have been done.
Some people think I shouldn't have played the mana ball, but it didn't matter.
Come on, yeah, sure. Go watch the game and you tell me. Yeah. But yeah, so he's gonna go through the rounds. Talk about the top 16 match was insane. We'll talk about that, and then the top 4 match was not insane. Well, it was insane for one person.
It was insane from a perspective. It was kind of insane when you really think it was insane how I will rant about people's hands against me in the finals when we get to that point.
It's your curse, man.
I'll be a little bit salty today for just a few minutes.
Yeah, you were right, cursed. But yeah, go ahead. With that, let's just jump right into it. Round. I guess before you go into, how were you feeling when you that morning? Were you ready to go? And then jump into the rounds.
I'm always fucking ready to go, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no nerves with tournaments anymore. It's just another day. I wake up, I play some Magic at this point. There's nothing stressful about tournaments at all. I mean, I've played. This was like tournament 16 for me, tournament 17, one of those. And it's not like top 4, top 16 is new to me. It's all like just I feel fine. I know how it is. It's good to go. So I'm very chill going into my rounds and just hoping to play some good games and win some good games. And today last Saturday was definitely one of those days. So round 1, I got to be on the play. Super nice to get to be on the play for a start. We had Phyrexian Fangirl on Najila in 2nd seat. We had Pontus from CDH TV on Tim Nadargo in 3rd seat. And we had Surge on Rogsai in 4th seat. So a pretty solid fucking round 1 pod.
Yeah.
I was a little sad. Yeah, so they redid the rounds, round 1. Round 1, I looked at my first pod, I was like, cool. And then I got re-rounded and put in that pod. I was like, fuck. That is a very competitive round 1 pod. Mulled to 5 again, and mulled to a hand that was like a very mid 5, but my turn 1 top deck was Trinisphere, and I was able to land a turn 2 Trinisphere that really dominated this game. I ended up getting to a position where I was able to tutor out Seaboard Muse and no one could stop it, so I was able to start spinning. I immediately spun into an Armored Scrap Gorger, which was summoning sick, but Pontus went to reanimate, I believe, his Dockside, and I had the Springleaf Drum, so I could just tap the Armored Scrap Gorger to the Springleaf Drum to snipe the reanimation because it's a separate ability. Armored Scrap Gorger is a fucking amazing card. Consistently
because it says when it gets tapped, right? It doesn't. You don't.
Whenever it gets
it's
tapped,
not an activated ability. It's a triggered ability, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is a triggered ability from it being tapped for any reason. So you can fucking snipe people with it. It's great. A few turns of going through this bullshit with the Trinisphere, Pontus tried to abrade the Trinisphere, and I threw out one random Kinnan activation before that happened, and I hit a Phyrexian Metamorph, so I copied the Trinisphere.
Damn.
And then, a few turns go by, I'm able to tutor out Basalt without an outlet. I did not have an outlet, but I was able to play Void Winnower and Wandering Archaic from hand, while I also had Seedborn, which is obviously a game-winning situation that will happen quickly. It took 2 people's upkeeps to eventually find the Thrasios, but because of the timing situation and being near the end of the round, I did have to, after eventually finding Thrasios after like fucking 12 activations, do the Cephalid Colosseum line that I have been really loving as an addition to the deck to win the game within time. That addition has been a really, really fun, good addition that I've now even improved, because one of the things that was always risky about the Cephalid Colosseum line, it is our weakest line because you draw your opponent's their decks technically, and you do at times, in the way I've done it, have to have an empty library for certain sections where someone could do something to snipe you in some way. It's very unlikely to occur, but it exists as a possibility. What I like is I figured out a new infinite, actually, where if I have 2 Hullbreaker effects, I can do the Emergent Zone Mirage Mirror Cephalid version of the line, where you turn Mirage Mirror into Cephalid Colosseum and sack it. And the reason you would have to draw your deck is to get back, Crop Rod and all these things to do it before, and you would have to regain Threshold. What's really nice now is I can Invasion of Ice Sky Turtle channel it to, so Sky Turtle channel back Mirage Mirror, and then play Invasion of Ikoria with infinite mana to get back Sky Turtle, and then play Mirage Mirror to Hullbreaker effects, bounce Sky Turtle and Invasion back to hand, so that goes infinite. And it makes it so you never lose Threshold. So it's actually a safer way to go infinite. So I've been really happy since I cooked a little bit a week ago and figured out that line.
It's pretty cool. I mean, like segue for or I guess tangent for a second. How fucking cool is it that you have a deck that you've been playing like in countless tournaments? You're like, oh, I just figured out something new. Like,
dude, it's like crazy that I'm still figuring out lines with this deck, and then I post them in the Kinnan Discord, and people are just like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you cooking this hard?"
I mean, you told me, and I've got your Kinnan deck in paper now, but you told me about it. I haven't played it like at all yet, so I don't know it yet. Yeah. You told me, I'm like, okay. Yeah, like just
it's such minute things. Like like the difference that makes the deck is so small, but it is just like slightly more optimal in certain situations. And because you can do that loop infinitely, if you do have counter magic and random bullshit in your graveyard, you can still get back all of your counter magic and maintain threshold. Just discard some lands.
Yeah, well, it's just another tool in your tool belt at this point.
In my infinite arsenal.
Yeah.
it's nice to have access to. But even during the game, like if your endurance has been exiled, it's nice to have an infinite recursion piece now, because it used to be, oh, my endurance is gone, I can't get back anything, that doesn't exist.
Right.
If stuff's gone, it was just gone. But now Ka0s Skytroll has been nice for getting stuff back, but the fact that now I have a way to infinitely loop it is really, really cool. So I do like just having that in the back of my brain as, if my piece gets exiled, there are other ways to do things. And that's always been the concern, because every piece is so important in the deck that when you lose something to exile or whatever, it can be rough. Because I remember even like discarding, exiling endurance to a Chrome Mox at the start, or exiling endurance to a Force of Vigor if you have to. Like, it feels really bad because it cuts off a lot of lines. But now it doesn't. Now it's like, all right, I got backup plans.
Nice.
So that's super, super cool. But yeah, eventually I got there. So it was a really good game. It was a really fun game. I do want to bring up one thing, actually. Pontus sent me a message a few days after the tournament. He was like, hey, I just wanted to give you some feedback on one thing. And it was, he was curious. He was like about to call a judge to ask how Dargo worked with Trinisphere. And the way I try and word things when I know the answer is I will normally say something like, you're welcome to call a judge if you want, but here's how it works. And that's what I normally try to do. But I guess I didn't say that this time. I said, no need, here's how it works. And he was like, nothing personal against you, but that can be a little bit toxic. Just be aware that you do not want to be disencouraging people from calling judges. And I just want to bring this up as like, I definitely should have. That was incorrect wording on my part. That is not the way I should have said that. And like, he's 100% correct. In this day and age especially, you should absolutely be telling people to call a judge on any question. You are welcome to provide them the answer, and if they want to go with it, that's fine, but do not disencourage people in any way from calling a judge. So I'm sorry for the way that I said that, and I'm definitely going to be better about that in the future. Yeah,
understood. Good.
Going into round 2, another really, really good pod. We had MZ, the guy who was he was in that like round 5 tie game from, I think it was Mox Masters on Korvold, who like made top 16 again this time and almost made top 16 last time. We had a guy whose name I forget on Rogsai in 2nd seat. We had myself in 3rd seat on Kinnan, and we had Kilgore on Sisay in 4th seat. I mauled super low in this game, and I had no shot at winning this game at any point in this game. It was one of those games that was just in no way meant to be in any way, shape, or form. Fortunately, my opponents all were able to really deal with each other quite well. And I really need to shout out Kilgore's Sisay list, because Sisay is one of those decks where I've played against a lot of people who have said their Sisay deck is different, and they're always like, my Sisay deck is so unique, no one's doing what I'm doing with Sisay. And then I look at the deck list, and it's like, oh, here's the Planeswalker lines, and here's some things, and maybe they have like one cool piece, it's like, oh, I'm on Urtai, or I'm on the Teferi Flash guy. Like, there's like something that's cool about it, but it's not really like a different deck. Kilgore's is actually a different deck. I went over his deck with him afterwards, and there are some cards that like really mattered in this game. Really good one, Calamity's Wake. So Sisay wins through Rule of Law exceptionally well, because it doesn't need to cast any spells to win the game. And so he was able to dunk on Rogsai's like Final Fortune turn with Calamity's Wake, where it's a silence effect that he doesn't care if he's silenced really, and it exiles all graveyards.
Just off Breach.
So that was a super cool piece that I really appreciated. And he has really unique lines. I think the coolest one is he's on Freed from the Real, and he's on Zur the Enchanter. And so if he has a Mana Dork and Kinnan, or he has Sanctum Weaver, or any of those effects, he can go to combat, tutor out Freed from the Real, and win at instant speed in the middle of combat, going infinite with Freed from the Real that he tutors directly into play, which is like a super sweet Sisay line that I've absolutely not seen in any of the other decks. So that was sweet, and we got to a point that this was really Kilgore's game to lose. They were so dominant in this game, and I was shocked when 12 minutes left in the round or something, they offered a draw. And Rogsai was dead at this point. They died on their Final Fortune turn. It's me, who has nothing going on. It's Korvold, who like has potential but is obviously behind Sisay. It's Sisay dominating, and Kilgore offered the draw. And so I'm immediately like, we fucking take this, baby. We fucking take this draw right now. Like, there's no way we're coming back in this game. And MZ was like, I'm here to play Magic. Which I respect. He literally, he was like, he said, we're here to play Magic, and I'm not ready to draw this game. And Sisei's reasoning for offering the draw is they were worried about Korvold, even though I think that I was not worried about Korvold. So we fast forward one turn cycle where Korvold does nothing, and now MZ's like, okay, now can we draw? After saying they were here to play, and Sisei was like, no. Like, now we cannot draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprise. But fortunately, the game did take long enough that we did get to a draw. So we got the 1 point on that one in a game that I was never in and never a part of, and did not matter in the fucking slightest. So that was my round 2. Round three was an interesting one. We had Dom on his Ikra Crom list on the play. We had Baneslayer on Sisei in 2nd seat. We had myself in 3rd seat once again. And we had a player on Timna Kadama in 4th seat. I mauled the 5 again. I mauled low pretty much, I think literally every game this entire tournament. I did not ever keep more than 5 cards. I might have kept 6 in top 16, which is pretty frustrating. But we're fucking grinding, baby. We're fucking doing what we gotta do on these low mauls. And I mauled to what was a really fucking clean turn 3 win. It was like Tezzeret and Treasure Vault or whatever combination it was. It was like a very clean turn 3 win in hand with just no way to stop anything. And I was like, you know what? We take that here. And so, first 2 turns go by. I have a good amount of mana on board. Everyone kind of just like sets up a couple of pieces. Dom on the play, mult 4, very importantly. And on his turn 3, he just goes, fuck it, Culling Ritual. And I was like, oh no. So I float 2 green mana. The Culling Ritual resolves. And I cast a Worldly Tutor with the mana I floated and got Bloom Tender on the top to start the rebuild. But he literally Culling Ritualed. And he was just like, oh, I don't have shit. I have no payoff. I figured I wasn't going to be able to stop you guys later, and I thought someone might win this turn, so I was just like, here. Which, honestly, instincts, on point. Kind of wild. And that set the board to a place where it was Sisei had 2 lands in Sisei, I had 2 lands, and Timna Kadama had 2 lands. That was the only permanence on the battlefield. And then Dom had 1 land and Ikra. That was it.
Yeah, I think it's a smart play. It's a huge tempo swing. Like, you're way behind, and now everyone's equalized. So, pretty strong play.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it still. I've thought about it a lot, and, I don't know if it was correct, but it was interesting. And I got pretty lucky on the draw here, because what ended up happening was I play my Bloom Tender, and the next turn I untap and I get a Ka0s Sphinx. And so I just slam a Ka0s Sphinx, and no one could kill the Ka0s Sphinx. And even funnier, there's fucking, absolutely no way this was correct. Baneslayer had a Mystic Remora that he played, that he drew off the top. And every single non-creature spell he drew on Mystic Remora when I had a Ka0s Sphinx out. And I was just like, okay. If you're going to keep drawing, I'm not going to not keep drawing. So I drew a fucking insane amount of cards. And I wasn't passing the turn with any hand that could come anywhere close to winning the game. But my hand was 1 piece to a win con and 5 counter spells when I passed the fucking turn. And so, yeah, we get to a point where I play Kinnan again, and Kinnan got blown up again. So Kinnan was going to be pretty expensive. And I ended up, after a turn cycle with the Ka0s Sphinx, again, of, having a win line in hand if my Kinnan wasn't destroyed. But then once my Kinnan was destroyed, I was going to be short on mana. But I had a mana drain. And I was like, someone just needs to play something kind of big. Show me a Crom, show me a something. And immediately, the Timna Kadama player is like, yo, guys, I can save us. And he finales for 2 to try and get Collector Roof. And I'm like, sick, mana drain. There's the 4 mana I needed for, Exactsies to win with double counter spell protection.
And they say blue doesn't have rituals. Come on.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. But then, weirdly, Baneslayer and Crom ended up getting into a interaction battle over something they probably shouldn't have, which kind of threw the game to me a little bit, where he tried to Bowmaster kill the Sisei, and Sisei played Legolas's Quick Reflexes, which gives it hexproof and gives it that tap ability to destroy creature. Now, what was really interesting, and we had to call a judge in this because I didn't know the ruling on it, and this was unique, and I was very happy to learn this ruling. So when Sisei tapped, the Legolas's Quick Reflexes ability goes on the stack, and he was targeting the Bowmasters to kill it. Crom cast Deflecting Swat, or Dom cast Deflecting Swat. Now, what's really cool, because that was Baneslayer's ability, that gets around hexproof. So you can deflecting swat the Legolas's quick reflexes ability to the creature that has hexproof with Legolas's quick reflexes, and kill Sisay herself with it.
Right, because it's a legal target for the ability. Yeah,
because it's his ability.
It's not shroud. It's hexproof, right? So
it's hexproof. So if it's my ability and my creature has hexproof, you can deflecting swat my own ability to kill my creature, which I was like, I've never had that come up, and that was sick. So I was really excited to learn something. That was super cool. And then I proceeded to just win on the following turn. Baneslayer tried to silence me in my upkeep. I had double counterspell. I didn't give a fuck. It was easy. And we got there on that one. There was a lot of salt that game, I think, from the Timna Kadama player about like how that was handled. They were like, why would you not defend my oof? And why would you waste interaction in this deflecting swat and shit? Like, we know we're gonna lose to Kinnan, which, like, honestly, kind of true. Not maybe the cleanest play there, but like, it worked out. I'm not complaining. And we move on to round 4 and 5, where at this point I was in a comfortable position to just ID in.
Right.
I kind of told myself I really wanted to play one of the rounds. So my thought was, whichever round I'm seeded really highly, I would just play that one, because I did want to play for seeding, because I knew I'd be locked at 12. So going into round 4, I was low in turn order, I believe, and so I was like, fuck it, we can ID, just get locked in, whatever. And then I offered to hop into the casting booth, and they said yes, and I had an absolute blast casting. I really enjoy it. You listened to me, Ka0s.
I did. You guys did great. All great chemistry between all three of you. It was really good. Very insightful. I think you did a great job. You should do that more. I may even try to finagle my way into a booth at some point too, just to try it out. It seems like fun.
I mean, someone told me that we should cast a tournament. They think
we should do that. Absolutely, I'd be down for that.
We should absolutely do it. I think we'd be really good. But why would we not be playing?
That's the problem. That's the problem.
That's
if
the
I
weird
find
part.
if I
we play it.
If I find a way to get a hall pass where I can go play in a tournament, I want to play in the fucking tournament. I don't necessarily want to cast. Right. Exactly. It's so hard to get this, it's so hard to find those windows already.
The struggles of the father, where that's what your hall pass is.
Yeah, exactly. Can I go out tonight, honey? Please, I want to go play Magic with my nerd friends.
Super
so
funny.
sad.
It was super funny. Yeah, dude, it was actually really comical, because I immediately went to an LGS like 2 days after the tournament, and I sat down at the table, and people knew who I was, but they forgot that I was in the finals, and they were immediately talking about how sick that Korvold win was, and I was like, yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, it made me feel sick. Yeah,
it made me feel great. Thanks for bringing it up, guys. But yeah, round four I was low seat, so I ID'd, and then round 5 I was like planning on playing, and then the pod was me, Comedian, Waffle, and another guy who was on the play for my top 16, and I was like, okay, maybe
not. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
We just draw this game. And we were all like, we were actually the top 4 in points too, so it was like, whatever. So we drew in. I ended up with 13 points, undefeated in Swiss again, and we go to top 16. And my top 16 match, it was funny because I was looking. I know how the top 16s go, by the way. It is just 1 plays 8, 9, 16, 2 plays 7, 10, 15, etc. And so looking at the points, the way I was supposed to be against double Rocco and Magda. And I was like, okay, no blue. I want to win fast as fuck, was how I was like mentally preparing to mulligan for this. I want to go on the turbo plan here. I will not properly stack out these decks. Like, I need to fucking dunk. And because they won't be able to stop me, most likely. And so that was the plan. And then the Magda player, bless his soul, I believe lives in Australia. And his round 5 was at like 5 a.m. his time or something atrocious. And he ID'd his round 5. And he fell asleep.
Oh no! And
he did not wake up. So he made top 16, but they ended up pushing 17 in, which changed who was in what seat position. So I was still against Rocco on the play, because Rocco was my first seat. But then instead of being against another Rocco and Magda, I was against Ganesha on Blue Farm in 3rd seat and Kilgore on Sisay again in 4th seat. And this game was a slog, I think is the correct way to consider it. We were by far the longest top 16 game. This one went really, really long. I mulled to 5 again, or mulled to 6 on this one. And my plan was to go for a turn 3 Tezzeret to hopefully get a win. And Sisay on turn 2 plays Ashiok, which is a really good piece against Rocco, who was kind of the concern at that point, because I cast his game, and he is clearly a Turbo Rocco deck. And so I was like, ooh, do I kill this Ashiok? And I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, honestly, I know I'm usually not greedy, but I am so low on cards in hand, like, I think I gotta shoot the shot. And conveniently, Ashiok had been giving me the Forbidden Orchard tokens, because I was the least good for them on board, and so I used them to murder his Ashiok. And then I played the Tezzeret, and I thought about it for a second, because I could have just untapped my artifacts, but then I was like, nah, I'm gonna kill the Ashiok. And I killed the Ashiok, and then still in combat, the Rocco had the Rending Volley for my Kinnan. So I couldn't go for Basalt and go for the win. So I ended up just untapping my artifacts and going on a grind plan. So I replay Kinnan the following turn, and it immediately gets Gilded Draked by Sisay, because the Tezzeret's on board, so everyone is afraid. Which is fair. He ended up tutoring and getting Gilded Drake, which I was super sad to see. But so now we have lost the Kinnan. The Tezzeret Basalt line is kind of off the table at this point. What I was really hoping would happen, and I was looking to draw into the entire game, as a clone effect. So rather than take my Kinnan, just clone it and then go for Tezzeret, and like that's fine. I could not find a clone to save my fucking life. But so the following turn, after my Kinnan is stolen, I'm able to use Tezzeret to untap my artifacts as ramp. So I just like tapped the Mana Crypt and the Mox Amber I had, untap them with Tezzeret to produce 3 additional mana, which gave me enough mana to slam a Void Winnower.
Yeah. So this is
hard cast.
So what's interesting is, you know, for the first part of the cast, they were covering Comedian's game and not your game. But that game ended, and then at that point they panned over and switched to your game. And the first thing I see on board is I see a Void Winner, I see the One Ring, I see Manamo.
Well, we're not at the One Ring yet.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. But I'm just, you know, you can tell how that happened. But I see Kinnan on someone else's board, and I'm like, holy shit, what's happening? Right.
Yeah, and meanwhile, there's also at this point like Drana and Linvala, Sigarda. There's a Manglehorn that I've had since early in the game. I played like a turn 2 Manglehorn. It was there the whole game. So yeah, this was like a very stacked up board state. It took a while, but so the Void Winnower put in work. Like literally, all 3 players were saying like, I cannot cast a spell in my hand. You know, Ganesha was revealing like a Soul Ring that he could cast, and everyone was just like, I can't do anything. And I'm like, perfect, this is what I was hoping for. And then the following turn after that, I top deck the Manamo, and I was really trying to hold the Tezzeret for Basalt. I was really trying to not use it, and the way Tezzeret had been attacked, it was at exactly 4 at this point. And so I drew the Manamo, and I was like, I think we give up on the clone the Kinnan plan here. I think we get the One Ring and we try to grind while everyone has kind of said they can't do shit under this Void Winnower. So I sack the Tezzeret for -4. I get the One Ring. I play the Manamo, and we start fucking cooking. We drew a lot of cards, and those cards did like so little. They did nothing. They were bad. They were really bad draws for a while, which was super frustrating. But so yeah, we go on the card advantage plan, and Sisay like really was the saving grace this whole game, and also Ganesha one time where Sisay ended up going for the Freed from the Real plan because he had my Kinnan and he had a Mana Dork, and so he tried to go for the Freed from the Real, which wins through all the stacks pieces, and thank God Ganesha had the Touch the Spirit Realm to stop it. So we survived that one, and then Rocco was able to try and go for a win through it, and Rocco, he was able to go for like the full Kiki line, and Sisay was able to tutor out Drana and Linvala, which like at the time I didn't really have anything affected by Drana and Linvala, so I didn't give a shit yet, but I don't like it existing. Flash forward to my next turn, I just hard cast the Thorn Mammoth, and I was like, let's go. We were just grinding, my guy. And these are the games that shows like how good Thorn Mammoth is.
Yeah.
Where it killed so much shit. And I do have to shout out, we were exhausted in this game. Like this game went, I think, nearing 3 hours in total. We had all been playing Magic for like 10, 12 hours at this point. It was long, maybe more. We missed a couple things in this game. There were little rules violations, like I had the Manglehorn and Sisay's Relic of Legends came in untapped, which would have changed what he was able to do that turn. My Thorn Mammoth at one point should have died from killing multiple things, and we did miss that. And in no way was any of that intentional. It was just we were really fucking tired and we were playing a little bit sloppy in this game. So I do apologize for that. Fortunately, I don't think like the winner of the game would have really changed. I think we still would have probably gotten to the same result from like what I was able to do with my hand, but just want to mention that like, you know, sometimes those mistakes happen. They're not intentional. It's just like after a long day of thinking, sometimes you miss a few things, especially when the board is like that cluttered. Because if you can look at a picture from that game, like I have no space on my board. Sisse has no space on their board. Rocco has no space on their board. Like it was very full, and I did get to a point where I killed Ganesha. I was like he was in a position where he was trying to say that he like couldn't do anything in this game, and we're all looking at him, and he kept trying to politic that like he was doing nothing, and we're looking at him like you have the most mana. Pretty much. Like at one point he really, because he had a Lotho for a while, so like he had the most mana and treasures. He was the only person with card advantage for a long time with Timna, and was like drawing 3 cards a turn and just like claiming that he couldn't do anything. And I was like, you are by far the most likely to come out ahead in this game. So I ended up killing him with Void Winnower and Thorn Mammoth and a combination of things after a few turns here. And yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so it was just a back and forth, and I was trying to find a win line without the Kinnan, and that was what was really difficult. And I was digging for a clone forever, and I got to a point where after several One Ring turns, I had the Basalt in hand. So once the Basalt was in hand, I was like, for the love of God, just get me to a goddamn clone effect. And on Ganesha's last turn, what ended up being really awkward for me was he tried to Fire Covenant. And I had 2 counter spells in hand at this point. I had Pact of Negation and I had Dispel. And I chose to use the Dispel first and save the Pact. And my thought process for doing that was because I was against Sisse and Rocco, which are both very creature-centric decks. And so I viewed the Pact of Negation as an important piece to stop a win line out of them to try and not get got.
Yeah.
Because I did that,
that makes sense.
He had a counterspell for the Dispel, and I then had to pact his counterspell in the Dispel because I can't lose my whole board there. I'm out of the game. So I did have to use the Pact Negation, and because I had to pay for a Pact trigger in my following turn when I was going to kill Ganesha, I was not able to win the game with the line that I had in hand, which was going to be a Tidespout-centric line. So that was a little frustrating, but is what it is. We just had to keep grinding, keep pushing, keep finding our effects. We got to a point where I hit an Invasion of Ikoria, and I was like, okay, that can get us a clone for Kinnan. And so I get Flesh Duplicate with Invasion of Ikoria. I listened to the casting. No one thought I was going to get Kinnan with this, by the way. Everyone thought I was getting something else. But I made it, turned it into a Kinnan. I play the Basalt. I play a Felwar Stone, and at this point, there's the Drawn on the Vala on the battlefield, and there is a Ranger Captain on Rocco's board. So Drawn on the Vala has the ability of Ranger Captain. I think Kilgore really wanted to save it. He really didn't want to use it on my turn if he didn't have to. And so he was doing a thing where he was and I did the math for this, which was really upsetting, where I couldn't play my Treasure Vault because I needed the Color Pips to like do other stuff first or whatever. So I had to play the Basalt with the Treasure Vault in hand, not able to use it. And when I play Basalt, he doesn't crack Drawn yet, but then I play a Felwar Stone, and then he cracks it as a Ranger Captain with the Felwar Stone on the stack, because once I got the color advantage, he was like, no. Which was 100% correct. But so what happened there is I'm like, okay, now I can only play creatures, and I had a Hullbreaker in hand, and I also had an Endurance in hand, so I was able to have a little bit of interaction to try and survive the cycle. So on my turn, with the infinite mana, I play the Hullbreaker Horror, and I save the Endurance to try and deal with some other things. So we go to Sisse's turn. He is like almost able to set up for a win, but not quite. I believe there was a win line someone mentioned. Oh, yes. So this I do want to bring up, because the chat was talking about an infinite line with Emil and Derevi if he had tutored for those pieces instead of Sakashima and Sagarda.
By the way, just real quick, anyone listening to this, highly recommend go watch this game. You can see most of it by going to Ka0s's Twitch feed and
the Ka0s Twitch,
and going and watching it back, because I watched this whole game, and it was one of the most fun grindy games I've seen on a stream before. So I highly recommend people go check it out. But go on.
But dude, I love the grindy games. If you notice, the games I lose, these top 16s and top 4s, are the games where someone just wins quickly.
What's your
if
deck
I get
called?
to a grind. It's called Grind Them in Dust. Yeah.
Interesting.
We like the grind, baby. We like the schlag. But so Sisse, the reason they were not able to go for this win line, because I talked to Kilgore after the game, he had a meal in hand, and I have a Void Winnower, so he can't cast it. So he was unable to, like, there was no win line with the Derevi Emil line that everyone was talking about. That win line did exist if Emil wasn't in hand, but Emil was in hand, which totally fucked him. Right. So that was just the reality of the situation. Otherwise, he would have been able to win that game. Though I guess Hullbreaker would have also ruined his day. I did find out when I played the Hullbreaker, I did it for a Thorn Mammoth trigger, and with the Thorn Mammoth trigger, I looked at his board for a while, and I was really considering a bunch of the pieces, and I ended up killing the Sisay. And he did tell me after the game, or the next day when we talked, like, that was correct. If I didn't kill the Sisay there, he would have had to win. He would have been able to win in a different line. But because I killed the Sisay and he had to recast it, it was enough mana that it turned him off of that line. So I was rewarded for a decision that I was pretty unsure about, with given the board state, because I was also looking at Rocco's board and, like, hitting the Ranger Captain and all this kind of shit. But so Sisay goes to his turn, and he sets up really well. He just kind of, like, untaps, plays Sisay, passes, holds up his mana for an activation, and then on Rocco's turn, Rocco, like, kind of goes for a win, but he realizes he can't get there, and so he goes to pass, and so end step then Sisay tutors out a few things, including a Sakashima, which he had enter as a Thorn Mammoth and target my thing, and so I cast Endurance. My Endurance trigger, I had it bounce, or my Hullbreaker Horde trigger, I had bounce my Flesh to complete. That was my Kinnan back to hand. And then I had the Thorn Mammoth trigger kill his, like, Sigard or Shalai, whichever one was the protection piece that was on the board at the time, because I couldn't hit his other things. And so then I go to my turn here, and I'm like, all right, we're cooking. And really interesting choice. Rocco decides to, before my turn, uses Haywire Might to kill my One Ring, which I was hyped to see, because I was like, thank you for leaving the Basalt, which is perfect. I would have won even if they hit the Basalt because I had the rocks in hand, but having the Basalt made it very easy from a I can protect this as much as humanly possible standpoint. So I replay the Kinnan, I make it a Ka0s, I start throwing down, like, Perplexing Chimera and other shit just to, like, make it extra super protected, and then they're like, okay, we can scoop it up here. I show them the Treasure Ball from hand, and I get to go to the finals. That was a really good game. That was a really, really good game. I love the grindy games, dude. I love the long slogs. Those are the ones where I feel like I get to shine as a player the most.
Yeah, it was.
I think those.
It was fun to watch. You were definitely dialed in and focused. Like, I didn't see you slip at all. Like, you were really on point the whole game. So, you know, other than, you know, not realizing that your Thorn Mammoth should have been dead, I think.
Thorn Mammoth,
right? But
I should have packed. I don't know. I'm still torn on the pack.
No, I think your reasoning makes perfect sense. You're playing against two creature decks that don't give a shit about the spell, so it makes total sense to me.
Yeah. But it fucked me.
No, you still won, so it clearly didn't.
I still won.
Yeah.
I still won.
Yeah.
I think also it was interesting because I had the Basalt. I think there was also, like, a potential for a line when I paid for my pack trigger, because I had the Invasion, I really wanted to leave up colored sources, so I ended up over tapping to pay for my pack. I paid 6 mana for it. If I had used an extra colored source and only paid 5, I think I might have been able to get there on a Basalt line. So that was another considerable, like, potential mistake. But I wanted to be safe with the colored sources and the interaction I had. So there was considerations for everything. Everything had a thought to it, but I still think there's always room for improvement. And you know, I could have played cleaner. I am curious how the game would have played out if we had, you know, not had any game rules violations. Always would be cool to see. But yeah, like I said, I love those games. I love the long ones. It was exhausting mentally. I felt actually kind of brain dead after that one. And then we went into top 4.
Yeah.
And top 4 was, let me scroll to my notes here. Oh my god, I didn't even make notes for top 4.
You don't need notes.
Whatever.
I can tell you about that game.
Who needs notes for this? Yeah. I'll go on a rant in a minute. But so top 4 was we had Sean on Korvold on the play, which, if any of you have listened to the show and heard me talk about my previous top 4 matches, I tend to lose to the person on the play really quickly, no matter how much interaction I hold up. And I was on Kinnan in 2nd seat. We had Waffle on T and K in 3rd seat. And we had a guy whose name I do not remember on Tivit in 4th seat. I mulled to a hand. I mulled to 5 again. And the hand I mulled to on a mull to 5 is a turn 2 Consphinx. Going 2nd. Which I'm like, bet. You know what I mean? Like, that is a game-winning play if I land that there and it doesn't get killed. Against a Tymna deck and a Korvold deck and a Tivit deck where they all want to draw a bunch of cards, like, Consphinx wins that game.
Yeah. And
so I was like, on a mull to 5, I'm happy with this. I'm okay with it. It did involve playing a lot of artifacts, and obviously Korvold is a Dockside deck. Korvold goes in his turn 1, and he goes land, gamble.
By the way, before you go into this, so on stream we're watching, and he keeps a 7, and he is obviously excited and happy with his 7. Like he's sitting there flashing notes at chat and like just having a good time. So we're like everyone watching. We're like, oh god, here we go. But go on.
So he goes land gamble, right? That can't be too crazy. Just a land gamble, and I don't know if people are aware. I'm known for sniping gambles. I don't know why. My statistical hit rate on entombing when people gamble is like ridiculous. Like I hit a guy's Thoracle out of 15 cards at Silicon Dynasty. I have multiple snipes out of a hand of 9 in tournaments. My record is a hand of 17. Like my hit rate is high, and I sniped this fucking Dockside, dude. I said give me number 6, and number 6 was Dockside. And Waffle was laughing because Waffle refuses to ever let me pick his gambles because he knows that I do this. And immediately, like I sniped it, and he was immediately like, Sean, I was not going to tell you, but Wounded does this. like I don't know how he does it, but he does it. So and I think because I sniped the Dockside, people kind of relaxed.
Yes.
A little bit, and we were less worried about Korvold. And I top decked a Mox Opal, which also changed how my hand could play, because my hand was land, Chrome Mox. So my starting 5 was it 2 lands? I think it might have been 2 lands. It was 2 land, Chrome Mox, Mana Vault, Trophy Mage, Consphinx. That was my hand. That was my starting 5. And I top decked, I think, another land for turn 1. So those are my 6 cards in hand. I top decked Mox Opal turn 1. So it was another artifact, which was actually really powerful there from a mana perspective, because the playline of land, Chrome Mox, Kinnan, because that was a plan, and then turn 2, use the land to play Mana Vault, tap the Chrome Mox and the Mana Vault for Consphinx. That was my line for turn 2 Consphinx. When I hit the Mox Opal, I was excited, because what it meant was I could go land, Chrome Mox, land for Mana Vault, play Mox Opal's turned on, tap Mox Opal and Chrome Mox for Kinnan. And that meant that turn 2, I could play Consphinx and hold up like 4 mana.
Right.
Which is great. Which for interacting is very important in this pod. So I was super excited to see it. And so I played all turn 1. And, the Dockside's in the graveyard. And either way, though, I'm like, it's 3 artifacts. And my thought as well is Waffle's in second seat. And Waffle is a high interactive deck. And Tivit kept first 7. When Tivit keeps first 7, you expect them to have some fucking interaction.
Yeah, sure.
You'd fucking hope. Come to find out, Sean's starting 7 was 2 lands, which, by the way, on his first turn, he ended up also exiling an Elvish Spirit Guide to play Noble Hierarch. So his starting 7 was, 2 lands, Gamble, Mana Crypt, Elvish Spirit Guide, Ignoble Hierarch, Animate Dead. Fucking Animate Dead. And Waffle had a swan song, too. And Waffle immediately was saying, which I'm not mad at Waffle for this, like, I get the Dockside was gambled, and, you want to progress a little bit. Like, I understand that. But he was even saying, like, oh, he totally has a reanimation. And then he didn't hold up the swan song. He played Timid instead. And then Tivit goes land, Soul Ring, Azorius, the one that you have to, like, put mana into to tap it. So he's tapped out as well. And then Korvold just goes, cool, Mana Crypt, Animate Dead. And proceeds to go on like a 20-minute turn of looping Dockside and hitting everything he could possibly ever need to just fucking obliterate us. And so,
yeah,
after 4 straight finals of losing to the person on the play on their 3rd turn, I now lost to the person on the play on their 2nd turn, and I didn't even get a turn 2.
Yeah, as it turns out, a Consphinx on turn 2 only works if you get the turn, unfortunately.
Which was, honestly, I was pretty frustrated.
Yeah, it was hard to watch, dude. It was really, really hard to watch, especially because I was being such a cocky son of a bitch in chat. I'm like, this is, Wounded's got this is over, and then kaboom, just explodes.
I mean, Consphinx lands there, I win.
Oh, for sure. But the other problem is, and this is what I was talking about that night when we talked later, was I was like, it's almost worse that you managed to snipe the Dockside just because everyone relaxed and played more artifacts than maybe they would have. I don't know that it makes any difference, but it made it almost worse. Because he had that Animate Dead.
I think there's a world that I play 1 less. I think there's a world that I go land Chrome Mox Kinnan instead, and I just trust on holding up the Mox Opal the following turn for interaction. But I think Tivit does their hand either way. I think Tivit kept land, Soul Ring, Talisman, or Signet, or whatever, and I think they're playing that out regardless.
I know that I personally, if I'm playing against Korvold and they go turn 1 gamble and then something goes to the graveyard that isn't dockside, like I'm certain that they got a dockside. Right?
Oh, for sure. You know? But I think the Tivit deck there still does what they did. That's just like what I would hypothesize. I would hope they wouldn't, but I think they would have, just given what their hand was. Because their hand was based on a quick Tivit when we saw hands after the game. So like that was the whole premise of what they were doing that game. And so I understand them feeling the need to still do that. And, like I told you after the game, mathematically, it was still good that I hit the dockside. He got more treasures if he plays dockside, sacks it to Korvold, then enemy decks it.
Yeah.
Like, that was still better for him than it being in the graveyard first, but it didn't matter. And the important thing as well is, if I didn't play the Mana Vault, mathematically, he never went below 1 treasure.
Yeah.
So, me playing the Mana Vault or not actually made 0 difference. He still gets there either way. It doesn't fucking matter. But overall, that was super frustrating.
There were some sick plays he did. I mean, like the whole like the animate dead on the dockside, right? Then cast Korvold, then sack the dockside, which causes the animate dead to sack.
No.
What? No.
Oh no! You sack the animate
right. I'm
dead.
Sorry. Yeah, sack the animate dead, which sacks the dockside, which creates 2 triggers. Yeah. Right. It's just little subtle interactions. Just fucking sweet. That's so sweet.
I mean, those are the Korvold lines, though. The people who play Korvold know you always hit the animate dead. But I mean, like, absolute props to Sean. He played that beautifully, and it really was textbook how well he was with going through each like step in every trigger. He was really, really clean about it. He's a super nice guy, super fun to play against. Like, I know some people were like, "Oh, were you pissed off when he was making it rain?" And I was like, "No, like, I was happy."
I felt attacked. I felt attacked because he's making it rain all over my dreams. Is what was happening there.
No, my saltiness has nothing to do with Sean. Like, absolutely, Sean played that beautifully. He got a god hand. Like, good for you. My saltiness comes from the progressive cursed history of, Treasure Series 4, Temujin on the play on Tivit goes land, Soul Ring, Felwar Stone, Mystic Grimoire, Jeweled Lotus. Fuck you, wins on turn 3. Devrick then goes turn 1 Angela, turn 2 Ristic, turn 3 win. When a guy has Force Will, no blue card, and I win if he has a blue card. Frustrating, turn 3 win. Then it goes Snake, going into Snake's 3rd turn, I'm holding up Force of Will, Overloaded Psych Rift, Mind Break Trap, and a Kinnan activation. His hand is Dockside Naws, Swat, Fierce Fluster. What the fuck? And then we go into SCG Gone Columbus against NATO, and he wins on turn 3 going, when there's a fucking blind obedience out, he's like, okay, Dark Ritual, Demonic Tutor, Thassa's Oracle, Demonic Consultation, with Force of Will backup, fighting through counter magic, and a guy with a fish on board, 9 cards and all his mana.
Yeah.
And then
this is the worst of them all. I think this is the most brutal of all of them.
It's pretty frustrating.
Sorry, brother.
Like, I have to be honest, it's very frustrating. I do feel like I'm a little cursed here. And that's the thing is, like, in a lot of these games, I'm holding up interaction. I'm being responsible. I'm keeping the best things I got to do.
Yeah, but you just keep going. Just keep grinding. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get one. It's just a matter of time.
I know. I really thought that Saturday was.
So did I. So did I. I was sure of it. 100% sure.
Yeah, but it was a good tournament. I mean, I still overall performed well.
Yeah, you did great. You did great.
Showed up to my status on the top deck leaderboard and on the CDH TV video top 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you did good. You should be proud.
And I mean, it is interesting to look at the Eminence added a new thing to the profile, because we're at the end of 2023 here. So I mean, just talking about my first year in CDH, I'll be cocky for 1 second here, because I'm pretty fucking proud of what I accomplished this year. They added a thing to your profile that shows your top 4s and top 16s, and this does show 1 additional win, because that includes a smaller LGS tournament that I won. But outside of that, I have now 6 top 4s and 11 top 16s out of my 16 tournaments.
Yeah.
And for my first year in CDH, I'm pretty fucking proud of that.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's been a cool year to look back on. It's been a really cool year to look back on. I absolutely believe I'm one of the best CDH players in the world. I absolutely plan to keep grinding, and I'm gonna fucking get there one of these fucking days, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, the new profile thing is really cool. I recommend people go check it out. Like, I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty cool. I like it.
I gave him one piece of feedback. I said I would like if the summary page that shows like how many top 16, top 4s you have, I would like if you could filter that by tournament size, similar to on EDH.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think that the base should be the same as EDH Top 16, where they do 64. I think that should be just like your base page, because those are your major events. Because it's weird that like mine shows my small LGS tournaments, and it shows like even in one of the like private discords I'm in, we would run leagues sometimes, and like those leagues were run through Top Deck or through Eminence. The things are on Command Tower, so like one of those even shows up as a top 4, which like that was just like a 10-person thing we were doing.
Yeah.
So like I think it would be nice to adjust where like you don't have to have those in your stats, because I think it can be slightly misleading. But yeah, I mean it's been a really good year overall. It's been a really, really good year, and I mean look at this now, dude. We have a fucking show on YouTube. We're in too deep, dude.
We've got over 800 subscribers now. Things are getting crazy.
We do, dude. Fucking crazy how quickly we like doubled in size.
Dude,
and a sneak peek. We're about to do gameplay as well, so you can get excited for that.
Yeah.
Another thing, should we give them the sneak preview of the playmat that's coming out?
Yeah, we could talk about it a little bit.
Should I give a summary?
Yeah, go through it. Well, and we could.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give all the details. I'm not gonna spoil it, but
yeah. Hopefully you guys are following us on our Discord and some of the back and forth that Max and I have over.
There's some lore with Ka0s Crutch. With the main lore being
I'm correct,
my
by the way. I'm
Santa
correct.
Claus,
yeah.
my beautiful Harry Hanukkah co-host is a salty little bitch because forever he tried to submit Florian to the CEDH decklist database, and they told him many times on many submissions, no. We will not put any more Rakdos Turbo-Nose decks onto the database. And so I said, okay, I'm going to submit my Obnixilis deck for fun. And I was accepted.
Goes
and
right
so my
in.
Obnixilis deck is
right
the most
in.
recent Rakdos Turbo-Nose deck on the database.
Yeah.
And I believe that Obnixilis is better than Florian.
The database is a joke.
And Max believes that Florian is better than Obnixilis for, whatever biased reasons
Obviously.
And mine are unbiased, of course, because mine is on the database, so obviously it's the better deck. Can't even say it with a straight face. But so our playmat is, if you have seen Game of Thrones, there is a battle scene between the Mountain and the Viper that is awesome. It's one of the better scenes in the show. So we are recreating a version of that battle scene where Obnixilis is the Mountain and Florian is the Viper, and they are champions for Kinnan and Talion sitting on thrones in the back. We have a bunch of Easter eggs thrown into the audience that I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to give them away. It is all happening in front of Bolas's Citadel, which is super cool. And it is going to have, of course, say Ka0s Crutch on the top of it. And it's going to be beautiful. The artist is Adriano Catani, who is the same guy that I did the Kinnan playmat for. Which, fun fact, if you are a Kinnan enjoyer, I have forever said that this playmat is a 1 of 1 for now, and I will consider selling it eventually. I have officially been worn down, and I am going to be producing a bunch of the Kinnan playmats for people to buy, so we will have a pre-order link or something of the sort for that up here soon as well. So yeah, the Kinnan playmat will be accessible, and then the first ever Ka0s Crutch playmat will soon be coming into existence. And yeah, I mean, the art by Adriano Catani, I have so much faith in this guy. He's awesome. So I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic and amazing. I'm definitely going to bring it out to some tournaments.
Oh, hell yeah.
We won't only use the Kinnan helm playmat, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I'm just hyped. We're going to have a Patreon soon. We're going to start gameplay. Like, things are growing. Things are feeling really good. How are you feeling about it?
Dude, I'm having so much fun. That's the thing, is like, this is a side gig for me. Like, this is like a hobby. Like, I'm just having a good time, and to see it grow like this, and all of these new opportunities sort of come out of it. Like, you're playing games with some of the other YouTube channels out there, which is exciting. Just lots happening out of what's just really just a fun time. So I'm super excited.
What started as
I'm blown away.
a casual joke.
Yeah.
What started as a casual joke as we were checking the videotape on a certain someone. And that you and I was just like, I'll start a podcast with you.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I made a couple of other attempts at podcasts that did not go so well.
Did not come to fruition as one might have hoped. But hey, now we're Ka0s Crutch.
Yes, and I'm having a blast.
Now we're Ka0s Crutch.
And, yeah,
which I do. Did I ever tell you where I got the name from?
No, he didn't. I mean, it makes sense, but no, where did it come from?
It actually does come from a guy who was a good friend of mine who is an MTG cheater. If you remember the Liberator player Derek, who was a very, very, very good friend of mine before all of that went down, his description on the Liberator deck was just colors were Crutch. And I loved when I saw it so much. That is technically where our name comes from. That's the tiny bit of lore.
Yeah, but it applies so nicely because we're two color connoisseurs.
We're two color connoisseurs. It's like absolutely perfect. So whatever, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I like the name a lot.
Yeah. So I guess before we go completely deeper, we should finish with Ka0s and talk about the meta a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull it up on EDH Top 6.
I've got it in front of me right now too, and to me this is the top 5 decks have consistently been. Blue Farm, Tivit, Kinnan, and Rogsai and Sisay have been the top 5 in most tournaments this year. And Ka0s is, I call it a little bit more adventurous meta than some of the other tournaments. So there are a couple things that are weird here in my mind. The big one being Tyam being 5 entries.
The fucking return of my nemesis.
Yeah, but conversion, 0% conversion. So 5 entries,
Good.
like 1 win between them? 2 wins. 2 wins.
2 wins between them.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, honestly, I've never hated a deck more than I've hated Tyam. I don't know how many times I've fucking said it. Fuck this deck. It's parasitic, preys on ignorance. I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh my god. Blue Farm, weirdly, still the top deck, but a lower percentage of entries than normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Normally it's been
Blue
like
Farms. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like double everything else. But so the top few decks, you had 8 Blue Farms, 8 Tivits, 7 Kinnans, 6 Sisays, 5 Tyams.
Yep.
Were the top 5 here. Of the Blue Farm decks, 2 of the 8 made it. Tivit, 1 of the 8 made it. Kinnan, 2 of the 7 made it, being me and Stony Tony. And Sisay, 1 of the 6 made it, being Kilgore.
Yeah, Rogsai, by the way, Rogsai is down to 3 entries in this tournament, which to me is...
Rogsai has been just fluctuating, my guy. It's just like it'll have 10 entries one tournament and 1 entry the next. I don't understand it. The deck's really good. I don't know. People should play it. I've been loving my games on Rogsai.
Yeah, I love the deck too. And I think it's like especially good for like a webcam tournament where you don't want to go slow. You want to go fast, and Rogsai is the best.
You're not worried about time at all.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
But then, I mean, some other big decks that have previously had really good conversion rates, like Kenrith has been known for having this really high conversion rate. 0 out of 4 made it.
Yep.
Atraxa has one of the better conversion rates in the format. 0 out of 4 made it. Dargo Thrasios, they were 3 entries, only 1 of them made it. Francisco Thrasios, which is a deck I do want to shout out again. It's been worked on really heavily by Temujin, D-Mage, and DX Reaper. And I think D-Mage was in this tournament and did not make it, but Temujin ended up being one of the top seeds.
8 seed.
Oh, I'm talking about, sorry. Being one of the top seeds in the tournament. He was on the play, wasn't he, for Francisco Thrasios? Yeah, so Temujin came in. Oh, he was 8th overall.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was... Oh, no. So he finished in 8th seed because he didn't make top 4. But going into top 16, he was like the 4 seed.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he was on the play for his top 16 game. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Temujin is obviously just a ridiculous pilot, and I think this is one of those examples of like sometimes the deck doesn't matter, sometimes the pilot matters, and like Temujin's obviously a freak pilot and an incredibly successful Magic player. And this deck is really good.
I still don't believe in it yet. I don't believe in it yet, but we'll see.
I like it. I built a version of it where I took their list that they're working on a primer for, which is super sweet of them. They actually hit me up, by the way, and they asked permission if they could use the like template of my primer.
Oh, nice.
Which I was like, absolutely, like if you would like to. So that was nice of them to ask. Which like
your novel, your
yeah, and they even like gave me credit.
Your doctoral thesis on Kinnan, yeah,
super nice. Yeah, my thesis on Kinnan. And then they hit me up again later the week because they were making the culling ritual section, and they were like, "Do we have your permission to take a screenshot of your Kinnan section on culling ritual to meme on it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
That's funny. Yeah.
So that was I appreciated them asking. But so 1 out of 3 made it, being Temujin, who ended up on the play for top 16. Rogsai 0-3 made it. Krom Tebish, another deck that has had a very good conversion rate that has been getting more popular. 0 out of 3 made it. Talion historically has been doing really well recently. 0 out of 3 made it. And then you get to some of these lesser known decks. Korvold, 2 people entered with it, 2 made top 16. Rocco, 2 people entered with it, 2 of them made top 16. Derevi, 2 of them entered, Comedian made top 16. 1 out of 2 for Heliod, 1 out of 2 for Magda where the guy fell asleep. And then 1 out of 1 for Gyruda. Actually made it into top 16.
Crazy.
And
Crazy.
then lots of other decks with 2 or 1 entry. But like a ridiculous number of different decks. Where if you look at most tournaments, if you're at 100 people, and there's going to be so many decks that have, 8, 4, whatever entries. I'm surprised that this deck had, I think it was 106 people. And there were 50 different commander pairings played.
Yeah. That's Ka0s.
Which is very
That's Ka0s.
high, I think.
That is the Ka0s meta, which I love. I think it's fantastic. And it's unique to Ka0s. I don't think there's any other tournament series that gets as adventurous as Ka0s, which is, I think it's really good for the format because this is a great place to, be a proving ground for interesting ideas and new decks. So, I think hopefully that continues in 2024. Maybe I could brew up something janky and bring it as well. Like it's just cool. I love it. Love it.
1 second. A guy played Gizhoth.
Really?
1 second. I gotta look at this deck. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I have a Gizhoth casual deck, so I have.
Oh yeah, I see it. There it is. There it is. It got absolutely no wins or draws or anything.
No, not even close. I just want to see what he's
called
on.
Ka0s Meta Stomper.
Yeah, it's literally just a big dino deck.
It is 100% dinos. Oh my god, look at this thing. This is hilarious. I'll put a link to this in the comments. I'll put a link to this in the description because it's great.
Holy shit!
Hell yeah, man! Good for you, dude.
Holy shit, dude!
Only in Ka0s. Only in Ka0s. Yeah.
And then just casually has a meal dox as well.
It's got freaking dinosaurs on a spaceship. I mean, like any deck that has dinosaurs on a spaceship in the 99 is like 100% playable.
That's a card. Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
Dinosaurs on a spaceship. It's Doctor Who.
Wait.
I'll put it on screen.
Wait,
I'll put it on screen.
What is this card?
Oh
my god! What is it?
It's a 6/6
Other
drop.
Dinosaurs get +1/+1 and a vigilance and trample. You can suspend it and make dinosaurs when the counters come up. This deck is. I do not think this is a meta breaker, but I love that it was brought. I love that it was brought. Oh, that's sick. And I like Gizhoth is one of my favorite casual decks. When I
love this.
My first ever casual CDH deck I built was Muldrotha, Sultai Grind Control, which I mean, hey, we started there and we never left.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I destroyed my friends with it repeatedly. They got really frustrated with me being a control player, so they were like, build something that's not this, and I was like, okay. And my first ever box I ever opened, as I mentioned in one of our other episodes, was Ixalan, and I had a Gizhoth, and I had a bunch of dinos. I didn't even need to buy cards for it, so I was just like, okay, I'll build dinosaurs. I'll just put all the Cultivates and Kadama's Reaches and Sakura Tribe Elders and all the big dinos, and we'll just see what happens. And the deck is gross.
Yeah, we saw it. I got to see it.
It just slams Gizhoth and then fucking murders people with dinosaurs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to see it in Atlanta. The deck is sick. It's sick.
Oh yeah, didn't I just I just was like, oh, here's an Atali, and Atali is a Tulpa.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. I'll attack and I'll put 6 dinosaurs on the battlefield, and they're all gigantic, crazy creatures. It'll be great.
Dumb. It is really, really dumb. But yeah, overall though, meta was super cool. Meta was super fun. I mean, obviously the top decks are still the top decks, but it was nice to see the diversity and like seeing these non-blue decks do really well. Like Korvold and Rocco is something I like to see because there's a lot of conversation right now about decks just can't compete if they don't have blue.
So tired of hearing that. So tired.
That's definitely a conversation I would be interested in having sometime in the show, like playing tournaments without blue. I know I talked to you about potentially bringing someone on for that. I think that would be an interesting topic.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit a couple episodes ago, just about like how challenging it is to take like Obnixilis or Florian right now, just because the draw engines are just so dominant right now. But clearly these non-blue decks have other angles of attack. That if you get lulled into a mid-range meta, like they can take advantage of that. With
I mean Korvold especially. It's nutty.
It's just so fucking fast, dude. That deck, if it gets legs on the ground, it's over so quick. And it dares you to have it. Like, okay, blue deck, you got a Heuristic Study. Go ahead, draw your cards. I'm gonna win now. Stop me.
Yeah.
And
So I just got a message from Sean.
Oh yeah.
No, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, even that game, your top 4 game, played out exactly the way a lot of those Korvold decks want it to play out, which is that blue farm player taps out, plays the value engine, and passes, right? And there's your window, right away, and
that was exactly what I was saying during Temujin's game as well, when I was casting, and he was going second, and he started with the gemstones into essentially a turn 0 of Vampiric Tutor, and then his hand, he went 2 lands, or he went land, Soul Ring, Chrome Mox, Devoted Druid, or something like that, and I was like, he didn't vamp for any of those cards, which it turns out he did, but like the thought process of he didn't vamp for those was like pretty much correct, where then everyone played out a draw engine. Like, it literally went like Rhystic Study, Tymna, Mystic Remora, and I was like, Temujin's winning right. I called it before he untapped. I was like, Temujin's winning right now.
Oh yeah.
Like he had one of the pieces, and he went and got the Machine Gods. Turns out he had Devoted and Transmute, and he vamped for the Soul Ring to have the mana to do it. But right thought process, where I was like, he just vamped to complete the combo, and you guys all just tapped out for draw engines.
Yep.
You got that. As I said.
Yep. Yeah, you got that turn 2, turn 3 window created by the the value engine being played out and tapped out for on turn 2, turn 1.
Which is really like what I've been preaching is, if I see someone play a Rhystic Study or Mystic Remora, my immediate assumption is their hand is trash.
Yeah.
My assumption is they kept the hand for that card. That is why they kept the hand, and their hand does not do anything. And a lot of the times that is correct. Sometimes do they also have a counter? Sure, good for them. They had a great hand, but like, yeah, if they just tap out for a draw engine, I'm like, cool, this is the window.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I've been trying to train myself on in terms of Talion, which is, you don't want to keep those hands that have no interaction but a fast play of Talion. Like, that's not enough. Like, you want to have some interaction.
I still keep them.
I mean, sometimes you have to, if you mull down a little bit, like you're in like a 5 or a 4 and that's all you got, you're definitely keeping it. But if you can get a 6 that has a piece of interaction, and a little bit slower Talion, say like a turn 2, turn 3 Talion, I'm gonna keep that. I'm happy with that because
I will keep turn 1 Talion with no interaction. I will keep turn 2 Talion with interaction.
That makes perfect sense. Yes, and that's about where I'm at as well. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So yeah, man.
Which there's so much interaction.
So what was
the deck is all interaction.
what was Sean messaging you about?
Oh, he messaged me a couple of days ago, and he wanted to let me know that he subbed to our channel. He's been on a content binge of it, and it just became his favorite channel.
Love it.
And he loves watching
Love
us.
it.
And I was like, I really appreciate that. And then he just messaged me a second ago asking if I was entering BloatusCon.
Yeah.
Which the answer is probably.
Yeah.
It also confirmed I have officially bought my flights to the Boyle. So can confirm, if you go to the Boyle, you'll be able to see us and hang out with us there. Have us do whatever you want us to do. And I don't know if you got my message, for the winner of the giveaway, the One Ring arrived in the mail. I signed it and I shipped it out to you.
Yeah, and as soon as I get it, I will sign it and send it on to our winner. Which is awesome.
Send it out to Canada.
Yeah, and also, spoiler alert, we're going to do some gameplay videos coming up, and is Sean going to be one of our guests? Is that the plan?
Yeah, Sean is already lined up. I think we'll probably have him in the first game.
Yeah.
Call it the rematch.
And our goal is, our goal is we want to have sort of top level gameplay. We want to have, the guys you're going to run into tournaments, that are going to be winning tournaments, topping tournaments. That's who's going to be playing in our gameplay videos. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I do want to get some guests on here when we start doing gameplay. Like, I would love to have Kyle Hill on if we could.
Oh, sure.
That would be sick.
Yeah, hell yeah. So
yeah, definitely a lot of tournament magic, and don't worry, I won't play Kinnan every game, and Max won't play fucking Talion every game. We'll change it up a little bit.
Yeah, every once in a while, I guess I'll play Florian instead. No, I'm kidding. I'll play lots of decks. Yeah, I've got a little arsenal. I've got a little library of decks set up now, so I can play lots of stuff. So it'll be fun.
Dude, I feel bad sometimes because like I am a control player at heart. That is just the strategies I like. And it's so funny when I play like a long string of games with people and I look at my decks and I'm like, okay, Obnixilis is different. Obnixilis is my one deck that's really different. But then I look at I have Kinnan, Talion, and Visit, which are just 2-color control decks.
Yep.
And then I have Elevere stacks, and I'm just like, I am an asshole.
So what you say? Let's play some games together. Actually, I'll play and you watch. How about that? It'll be fun.
Yeah, I would like to play, and I would like you to do fucking nothing.
Yeah, bastard.
Dude, Nim Visit has been fun as fuck, dude.
I bet, dude.
Oh my god, I've been dunking with Nim Visit. That deck is actually really fun.
Yeah.
The deck is really fun. Nib Visit is cracked. Nib Visit is a broken fucking Magic card.
Yeah. I gotta play that deck.
Like I want to build a.
When we get down to Atlanta, bring it with you to Atlanta because I want to try it. I want to try it in Atlanta.
Niv, of course.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Of course.
So anyway, I mean, lots of exciting stuff coming up in the new year. Looking forward to meeting some of y'all in person.
Can we?
You know what? What were you gonna say?
Can we get an altar? Can we get an altar of the card Thud? That's you doing the belly flop.
Wow, is that gonna be an Easter egg on the playmat now? I don't know. That's funny.
The funniest thing, dude, when we were in, can I tell them about the bed in Atlanta?
Oh my god, dude. Go ahead.
Can I?
First of all, for those who haven't met me, I am 6'5" and I weigh like 350, 360 pounds. I am a giant human being.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
But I gave you a piggyback ride. I'm proud of that. And fucking, so we're in Atlanta, and I immediately, I don't know why I did this, but I tried to snipe the king bed, and so I go and jump on the king bed, and Max jumps from behind me and jumps on the king bed and just fucking breaks the shit.
Just collapses. Yeah, it just collapsed. We put it back together mostly.
We did fix it. We put it back together. But yeah, he just like broke the legs on the bed.
Yeah.
Super funny.
Yeah, so hopefully we see you guys in Atlanta. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content and like and actually subscribe to our channel. We're getting close to 1,000. We'll be so excited when we get over that. So
I'm so hyped for 1,000, dude. I'm so excited for 1,000. I really want to get there.
Oh, we're so close.
So yeah, help us get there.
Yeah. So with that, I think
help us get there.
We're done for today. But thanks for joining us again on Colors or Crutch. Max, you want to take us out?
Sure. Thank you once again, just like Max just said, for listening to the Colors Are a Crutch podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe. We have our Discord link in the description below. You forgot to add that last time. I had to toss it in.
I was on vacation.
My name is Max Sternberg, also known as WoundedSatellite. I also offer CDH coaching. If you're interested in CDH coaching, you can find me on Discord as WoundedSatellite or as Twitter as WoundedSatellite. I also have like a fun review sheet now. I've been doing a lot of fun coaching lately. I coached a guy in Riel. I coached actually the guy who top 16 on Rocco the other day. We've been doing like a lot of fun CDH coaching. It's been a really good blast. So yeah, hit me up for that. And like I said, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. I was joined, as always, by a mythical man, Harry Hornica himself, Max P, the Italian man.